This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates.
We're back to wrap up our Michael Bay. He's made a bunch of Transformers movies. Caravan of Garbage special edition episodes that we've been doing.
We did it, James.
Not yet.
I was going to say,
this is the start of the episode.
We might still crack by the end of this. If this never comes out, people will know.
But you know what would get us through?
Yes.
A like, obviously. That gives us that little bit of...
That'll give us the strength to push
Yeah.
through. We're just imagining those likes coming at us.
Yeah.
Just like shrapnel.
That's right.
Just like stray bullets.
Which might be the name of some of the Decepticons. Shrapnel and stray bullets.
Oh, who's your favourite? Of this movie, who's your favourite new Transformer? Mine's Nitro Zeus.
Mine's the one who goes...
Oh, yeah, ga, 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 ga.
Yeah, but that might be the same guy.
No, you're thinking of Lady Ga, 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 ga.
Okay, right. So, it's been 147 hours of these movies.
It really has, hasn't it?
Where are you at this point?
Shattered. Shattered as a human being. This one gives us a little variety.
Sure.
For a very specific reason. Now, James, I don't have a lot of faith in the world, James, but here's one thing that I believe wholeheartedly with my entire body and soul. I could start a cult based on this.
Okay.
It's that the original script for this movie was a fantasy movie. Like the finished script was a fantasy movie. It had nothing to do with Transformers at all. And then they were added after the fact.
Like an Arthurian legend?
Yes.
Turn modern day?
I know this because if you take all the Transformers and all the transforming out of this movie, and there's not a lot of transforming to take out, it's still a full movie. Not only that, it's a movie about a young woman who doesn't believe in the mythical history of England, who discovers that she is the descendant of Merlin and is therefore the only person who is capable of finding and wielding a magical staff that summons a dragon that saves the earth from monsters from another world. Like it's a shorter movie and it's a better movie.
I mean, it's a shorter movie.
Yeah.
I'll go with you on that.
But and you might say, James, but this movie was produced in an era where Michael Bay had put together that kind of genius scriptwriter, whiz kid think tank specifically
This
for
was the
putting
time
together
for it, yeah.
Transformers movies. But I think what happened is one day, like one Friday afternoon, Michael Bay was like, "Good hustle, everybody. All right, I'll see you back here on Monday with your completed Transformers 5 scripts." And one dude's like, "Oh no, I've just been sitting up the back not doing anything. What do I do?" And he goes home and he just gets out his laptop and he's just got like a script, his passion project, and it's this fantasy movie about...
It's a sequel to Guy Ritchie's King Arthur.
Exactly, that's right. Back in the habit. And he just goes through it and he just starts adding Transformer stuff.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, we're in a car chase. Let's just say some of them are Transformers.
Yeah.
We'll put them in a submarine. Let's say the submarine's a Transformer. Let's say the dragons are... Who cares at this point? Just put it in.
What's going on with that dragon? Can you explain that to me? Because the dragons can make their own decisions, right?
But they're controlled by the staff.
But they're controlled by the staff.
Well, that's the thing.
But they have to give you the staff.
I'm saying that in the original version, then it's not. It's just like a monster.
Yeah, right.
And the staff controls it. But if you add Transformers to it, who are sentient beings, who don't need to be controlled, you could just ask them to be nice and save the world.
Yes.
But they didn't take it out. See, that's the thing. What happened is this guy, midway through, like it's like Sunday afternoon and he's going through, and he's like, I can't take anything out now because this movie would then make less sense than it already does. And so he's just like, I'll just power on through. And then Monday morning, 9 a.m., he rocks up at the offices and he gives it to Michael Bay, this bloated, overstuffed, overlong monstrosity. He hands it to Michael Bay and Michael Bay flicks through it and he goes, perfect. This is what Transformers movies are all about. Too much of everything, all the time.
Look, I think there's definitely some validity to that thinking.
I think so.
And this was the biggest budget one at this point in time. It was $217 million, but it also made the lowest amount of money at $605 million.
People were tiring of these movies.
That's right. It was considered a box office failure because it lost like $100 million. But the thing is, like you mentioned, they're spending money on the wrong things. There's amazing giant sets and structures and underwater traversal, and they recreate Stonehenge so they can explode stuff around it. There's a medieval battle sequence, but it's like you're looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why doesn't Optimus Prime transform in this movie at least once?
Well, maybe he does behind some dust and dirt and smoke, but we don't see it, do we?
Yeah, and it starts again with that thing of like, you know history. You thought history.
Right.
You know how you know history.
Yeah.
And you thought history. but Transformers maybe.
Yeah,
some
right,
of it.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, we know. They've been here, they're in things.
They're in everything, apparently. They killed Hitler. Maybe they were Hitler. I mean, there's interesting sequences. The battle sequence at the start, the medieval battle sequence looks great.
Yeah.
The bit where Bumblebee is in World War II, that looks great.
Yep.
But I mean, they belong in maybe a TV series of this. Like, to cram it all into one movie.
Well, it's funny you should mention that because I do have a bit of trivia, which I was going to say for later for our famous trivia section. Trivia all the time. We won't stop. Trivia forever.
We'll die first before we stop doing trivia.
So, after the release of Age of Extinction, a writer's room was set up to plan a possible cinematic universe for the mainline films. Two of the ideas pitched involved an Arthurian myth, which is probably a separate thing, and one set in World War II. Executive producer and director Michael Bay liked them so much that he decided to incorporate them into the script for this movie.
Just smash
Just
them
put
together.
them on. Just take ideas that could be good ideas on their own and just jam them into this one.
I mean, we had some characters that people didn't like in the previous movie, but Michael Bay's friends with Mark Wahlberg, so just put him in the starting. You could take the whole sequence at the start out. Like, Mark Wahlberg doesn't need to be in this. There are a couple of new supporting characters, his new couple of best friends. They don't need to be in this.
Because he melted the last one or whatever.
Absolutely, and he nearly melts this one. But I mean, you could just take that out because Mark Wahlberg's character, Cade Yeager, the great Cade Yeager, he's not necessary for this story at all.
No.
The only reason he's in this is that he gets a medallion talisman thing and it gets stuck on him.
Yes.
And then he goes through this movie grousing and complaining and yelling at people and fighting robots until the end when the talisman turns into a sword and he blocks an attack with it. Yeah. And that's it.
That's right.
That's all he does in this.
Yes. It's again that thing of she's got a destiny because she's Merlin's ancestor or descendant, and he's got a destiny because he's a knight. It's like, do you need both of them to have a different medieval destiny?
You don't.
Yeah.
You
also,
don't.
because when that knight meets him on the ship and the knight's like, you're a good man, Cade Yeager, and gives him the medallion, and they run through later like the things that a knight needs to have, how they're brave and they're beautiful and they've got wonderful biceps, and one of them is that they're chaste. And he's like, I haven't had sex in a long time or whatever. You know, that Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
But does that mean that that particular Transformer can tell when a person has had sex last? Is that how that works?
Yep.
What if some horrible incel stumbled across it?
He turns into exactly. He turns into some sort of strange gynecological device. That's his alt mode. You don't see it, and you do not want to see it.
The other thing about this movie is it's just like Unicron.
Yep.
Unicron? I mean, I know also in Transformers Prime, the animated series, the Earth is Unicron, but if you're going to put Unicron in it, I feel it has to turn into a giant man.
Right, exactly. A giant golden demon man. Why not? Ridiculous. Oh, a couple of horns. Who cares?
Nobody
cares.
And then they're like, Cybertron's coming to Earth to drain the Earth of Cybertron. And Optimus Prime's like, what have you done to my world?
Your world?
You shoved it through a portal like 2 movies ago, remember?
Right? Yeah.
It already came to Earth. This literally happened 2 movies ago. I mean, I know it was 140 hours ago. But Jesus, like, they don't even remember the things that they're recycling. There's a moment where Steve Buscemi, the robot's like, this is Starscream's head. That head exploded. I saw that happen 2 movies ago.
Yeah.
They don't remember anything. There's no continuity in this. How can you establish this cinematic universe? By the way, you can't because this bombed horribly and potentially killed this franchise in movies for a while, even though Bumblebee did do a little bit better. But none of this clicks together.
No, absolutely not, no.
Anyway, thank God for Cade Yeager.
I agree.
And thank God for Vivian Wembley. But what an awful pairing. Quite frankly,
the worst pairing, absolutely. So she's the descendant of Merlin,
yes,
and so they've got to go on a fun, sexually charged journey across England.
Yeah, I guess they do. I've written here Laura Haddock, who's actually Peter Quill's mum in Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's right.
She has more chemistry with Kurt Russell, a man double her age with a CGI face, whose character intentionally put a tumor in her head. I believe that those two, that relationship is beyond horrible. Is a better relationship than what we're getting here.
Yeah, you can see how they got together. Like, you go, okay, well, they've got charisma, and Ego's a freewheeling, traveling man, I guess. You see him just driving along in that convertible being like, yeah,
and that's cool. But there's moments where she's like, oh, who are you, American man? Where are you from? And he's like, I'm an inventor. And she's like, what did you invent? And he's like, things that you've heard of. Why would you say something so obvious and easily disproved? Because all she has to obviously say next is, name a thing.
Yeah.
Like his ego. Did
you invent the iPad?
Yeah, that's right. His ego is so rampant.
Yes.
That he can't even just go, oh, actually, I repair and find Transformers. That's pretty good.
It's good enough,
actually.
right? Look, what I did invent is I invented in the last movie, I invented a robot that sort of fetches you beer. But in this, I don't need it because there's little transformers that get beer for me, so I've kind of given up. You know what I liked about this movie is that we discover that, again, speaking of recurring characters, well, look, Bumblebee's back.
Yep.
And he can break up into pieces and still fight, I guess because that happened in Iron Man 3.
That did happen in Iron Man 3.
So I guess Bay was like, put that in, why not?
I've got a list of things that I think this movie
Oh, okay, well, we'll talk about that. What I also enjoyed is that in the last movie, obviously, we got the Dinobots.
Yeah.
Who are the, legendary warriors of Cybertron of yore. And the greatest, of course, is Grimlock, the most fearsome warrior in the galaxy. And in this one, he's just a big dumb dog that eats cars because that's funny, I guess.
That is funny,
Pretty good.
I guess.
Speaking of establishing continuity, I mean, that's perfect, right?
Yeah. So as far as my list goes, the scavenger character who lives on her own in the junkyard, that's clearly Rey from Star Wars. She's even got a little BB-8. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah, it didn't even occur to me.
To this movie's credit, it's less lecherous with young women than the previous ones have been. Mm-hmm. I mean, just.
Right, sure.
It doesn't overtly sexualize.
There's still some weird references, though.
Oh, yeah.
At one point, Wahlberg's like, hey, what are you doing? You wearing a stripper dress? She's just wearing a dress.
Yeah, but the difference in this one is why I say it's slightly less is she's like 32. And that's
course,
the
yeah.
difference.
Right, yeah.
It's not much better, but that's the difference. So there's a Gladiator-esque opening battle sequence, which, by the way, you could just take all that out. You don't need
that's
any
what
of
I'm
that.
saying, yeah.
It's obviously Suicide Squad with the introduction of Nitro Zeus and Teeth Chatter McGee or whatever we talked about. Mm-hmm. There's also Good Guy v. Good Guy, which Fast and Furious were doing at the time, and Captain America Civil War and Batman v Superman. And I know films obviously borrow from other films all the time. Film and entertainment, pop culture in general, everything is built off the back of something else.
It's a real melting pot out there.
But it's so blatant in this and not done well that it feels really egregious, you know?
I agree.
Yeah. Anyway, Megatron's back, I guess. Is he the main bad guy? Maybe.
No, it's the lady robot who's in it, once every hour.
Yes, that's right.
She's in it.
Yeah,
She's
once
the
every
villain.
hour, the same as Optimus Prime. Why isn't he in these movies? I know, I feel like I've said this every video.
Yep.
How much is he in this?
Look, here's the thing I wonder. I wonder if Peter Cullen, voice of Optimus Prime, was like, I refuse to say most of the lines you've given me, and so they just reduced his role. Like again in previous movies, when various actors have objected to what the movies are, they've just been written out completely, and you can't entirely write out Optimus Prime, but they've given their best shot at it. I guess.
Certainly have.
I also wonder, once again in this movie, Optimus Prime repeatedly busts out his famous catchphrase, "I'll kill you," and I'm starting to wonder if he was asked to do that many movies ago and they were like, not quite good enough. Can you give us another take? And he ran it through like 10, 20, 30 times.
Yeah.
And they're just putting in alternate takes.
You might be
constantly.
right.
Because why else would he be always saying that? It's mean and rude.
Quite frankly, it is. Also, the evil version of him.
At one point, he calls a Decepticon an ugly mess.
Oh, that's
very rude.
I mean, he does decapitate like 7 at once or something.
That's true, also.
And that's rude in a way, isn't it?
Yeah.
This movie was kind of sold on Bumblebee versus Optimus, like you've never seen or whatever. You know.
Yeah.
You know how movies are. But they've also used all the tricks at this point, so I think that's why this one also didn't do as well. And also it didn't pander to the Chinese market like the previous one did, which probably accounts for box office, which we didn't really talk about last week. And then, of course, this is the bit that annoys me most about in terms of continuity. When Bumblebee, finishes fighting Optimus Prime and they're like, we've had enough of a fight.
Yes. That's enough fighting for the trailer. We can stop now.
Yeah, that's right. Pretty much, yeah. He's like, Optimus, I'm your best friend. And Optimus is like, I haven't heard your voice since we were back on Cybertron. First movie. Remember the first movie?
Yeah.
You were in the first movie. Is it the same guy? Is that what's going on here?
I wish to stay with the boy, is what he said.
Yeah. Is it a different Optimus Prime every movie? Maybe. Is that why he doesn't remember anything? Is he getting his mind wiped like the Winter Soldier so he's insane?
Oh, maybe he has like a loose battery pack wire or something like that. It comes loose and then he's like, and maybe.
And then when he comes to, he's like, I'll kill you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what else I'm sick of in these movies?
What's that?
Human characters, the main human characters, I should say, not getting smashed by robots by pure happenstance. Just wherever they're rolling, like a big fist or a foot just lands near them.
They're in a transformer. The transformer transforms into a robot. They're flung into the air
and
like go over an overpass or under an underpass, and then they're caught by giant steel hands at the speed of a car, and they're just not smashed into paste. You're right.
I'm sick of it. But to be fair, in this movie, when Tad Hamilton showed up, part of me was like, oh, an adult.
Yeah,
Like a part of me
yeah.
was like, thank God Josh Duhamel's here.
He's got some great at the temples. He's got wisdom.
This is a fucking shit show. This whole thing. Thank God.
If-
Somebody who remembers the first movie is here. He's
Everybody
good. I like
shut
him.
up and I'll deal with this. Just cool out.
So how do you feel about Bumblebee's speech patterns in these movies?
Well,
now?
at this point, we didn't mention it last week, but I mean, at least one movie ago, he stopped speaking in meaningful songs from the radio.
Yeah.
And he just started speaking in movie quotes and like Def Jam comedy recordings and stuff like that.
He's the Jerky Boys.
I guess he's the Jerky. Has he found a satellite radio station that's just like offensive audio clips or something? At one point, he says to a character, quite early on, he says to a human character, he doesn't say, but he plays a clip, which I assume is from an old Western or something like that. And the line is, "I'll burn you so bad, you'll wish you died as a child." Which, when you watch at the movies, they like this sort of stuff. Like a lot of a lot of his dialogue is kind of hard to pass when you're in a movie theater or something like that. But when you watch it at home on TV, I'm like, what did he say? And I wound it back, and I'm like, that's
a horrible thing to say.
horrible thing to say, yeah.
To your friends also.
Yeah. Awful.
I also think this movie is the one that Michael Bay realised in a PG movie, you could say shit as many times as you want.
Yeah, right.
It's a shit-a-palooza, mate.
Oh, yeah?
Ben's going to put in a compilation, the man who edits these videos, which, by the way, he has to watch these more times than we do.
I've apologized to him via Twitter message a number of times, and he's like, no, I quite like rewatching these. And I'm like, do you? If that's what you want to believe.
He's actually got a video coming up on these very movies about a thing that he particularly enjoys.
Oh, terrific.
So, yeah,
I'm excited.
Look forward to that. One of my notes here just says, that submarine is a trampoline, I guess. And because I think my computer auto-corrected to trampoline, but it may as well be a trampoline.
Sure, yeah.
Because they're just like, did you know this is a transformer? Is it?
Yep.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
There's a lot of vehicles and characters and objects in this movie that are they transformed? Apparently, Sir Anthony Hopkins' walking stick, like it transforms into a gun. So is it a transformer that hasn't spoken for decades, or is it just a transforming? Is it made of transformium? It's hard to like. But his companion is Cogman.
Yes.
Who
I quite like Cogman.
You, of course, because he's a weird metal psychopath.
Yes.
I think in the original script he was probably like a medieval suit of armor.
Yeah, right.
That was possessed by the spirit of Galahad or something.
Yeah.
Let's say Galahad.
Let's say Galahad.
Yeah, why not?
But now they're just like, what if C-3PO was a psychopath?
Right.
Which, by the way, they've already done in comics.
And allegedly in this movie, he's a headmaster, which means in the context of Transformers, he would transform into the head of a larger Transformer,
Yes.
which would then transform into a vehicle.
A
But we
toy was released.
Yeah, but we never saw saw it actually happen in the movie. He's just driving a regular car.
See, there's a lot of driving a regular car in this.
Again,
isn't
it's
there?
just a car. It's just regular car chase, and they were like, well, let's say that one's an Autobot, hey? Let's say
that.
why not? You know?
Yeah.
At one point, Cogman and Anthony Hopkins they jump from their normal car to a decoy car. And Anthony Hopkins says, "Oh, Cogman, you've parked the decoy car a long way away." And it's like in the middle of the street with both its doors open. And I'm like,
That's the Cogman I know, though.
what did you do, Cogman? Did you drive a car out to the middle of London in the middle of the night so no one could see you're a robot man, and then park it in a city square with the doors open, and then just left it there till daytime? How did nobody steal it?
I don't know. Did he park it there? Is it a transformer?
Maybe it's a transformer.
You might have called it. I don't know. I like the way you told off Cogman like he worked for you then. You're like, what did you do, Cogman? What have you done?
But then
what
I'm
are you
like-
up to this time,
But then I'm
Cogman?
like, I can't stay mad at you, Cogman.
I really like the design of Cogman. Like that clockwork man thing.
He would be better in a non-Transformers movie.
Yeah.
Cogman Begins, maybe.
Yes. I'd watch Cogman Begins.
Look, here's some stuff that I enjoyed in this movie. I really enjoyed the scene in which Cade Yeager and what's the lady's name?
Vivian Wembley.
I really enjoyed the scene in which Cade Yeager and Vivian Wembley go to her palatial castle estate and have to look for the clue that her father left her in order to find the last night and the Merlin and the staff and the blah blah blah. One, because again, Cade Yeager, entirely unnecessary. Just say her father left her a necklace or something like that. It's fine.
No, it's in a book or something.
Two, I enjoyed the fact that they're up in the room and they're smashing stuff to bits, and it sounds very very Randy, baby.
It's very British.
Because
how
it's
you're
a
being
very
served,
British.
yeah.
It's very British farce / Austin Powers. But I also like the idea that that's how Michael Bay thinks academic research is performed. Like when he imagines, it's like, you know, when Homer thinks the opera is like a bear driving a little car. Michael Bay thinks that academic research is you just open drawers and empty them on the ground and smash things until an answer is presented to you.
Yeah, it's the Indiana Jones school of archaeology.
Speaking of, I also enjoyed the part where they end up at the secret underwater spaceship where Merlin has been entombed, and they open up his tomb and they're like, "Oh, we were looking for a Transformers staff, and here's just a regular staff. We're so mad."
He flips out. He's like, "How can this be?
So
What are we even doing?" Like he loses it. Calm down, Mark Wahlberg, for a second.
Mark Wahlberg, calm down for a sec. Take a breath. Remember, you're in a world of Transformers. You're in a Transformers spaceship. You're looking for a Transformers artifact. Consider for a moment, you might have transformed into something else, like a stick.
Or something else.
We okay, buddy? All right, all right.
Yeah, he's a moron.
He's
We
a
know
moron.
that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Look, I've got a note here. It says Megatron refers to Starscream as his old treacherous friend.
Yeah.
He's treacherous in the cartoons. He's very loyal in the movies.
Yes, that's true, yeah. Loyal to a fault. Because, you know, his head exploded in that movie.
Yeah. Another great quote from the greatest hero of them all, Optimus Prime, at one point, after like laying a beat down on a lot of the other characters, he says, "My brothers, I will never betray you again." Cool.
That's great, man.
Great stuff. Thanks.
That's really,
thanks, pal.
yeah.
We believe you.
I mean, I don't take much solace in that, if I'm
Yeah,
honest.
I mean, you've said a lot of stuff in these movies and really haven't backed it up with much action, but all right.
Yeah. So it's trivia time, Mason.
I'm ready.
Hot trivia. Actually, one trivia, because we've said other trivias already.
Okay, well,
One trivia time.
One trivia time. Well, I also have maybe one more trivia.
Two trivia time, everyone.
No, it's one trivia time. We're going to do it separately.
Okay, good.
We're going to have the graphic twice. Okay, one trivia time. Here we go, James. Off you go.
Okay. Hot Rod, who's in this movie, by the way.
Yep.
Hot Rod's French accent was executive producer and director Michael Bay's idea, as he thought it would give Hot Rod a unique character. Or, you know, give him like a personality or a motivation or like a face. Like you
He
can
does
recognize.
James, he does have a personality. He has a
French is not a personality.
No, James. He has a gun that slows down time. That's his personality.
Yeah. Where's that technology been?
Right? Why is he the only one that has it? Well, again, it's like Optimus Prime being able to fly for no reason.
Yeah.
All right. And also...
Second trivia. Different section, though.
One trivia time. Here's one trivia time. Throughout the course of the movie, Bumblebee's doors sometimes open like a regular car door, and sometimes they open up like upwards, like a fancy Lamborghini or something like that. And some might say, well, that's probably a production error. You know, they've got a couple of different versions of the car, and they've just mucked it up in editing.
Yeah.
But I say that's Bumblebee just trying to squeeze some enjoyment out of his life by annoying all of his passengers. Because every time he'd get in and you'd be like, okay, time to get out of this car. Get it. Bumblebee, God damn it. Oh, I can't stay mad at you.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, yes, I can, because that died as a child line from earlier. Really offensive, man. I'm still mad about it.
Sometimes the windscreen flips up. You have to climb in over the bonnet to get in. He's a lunatic. Also, you don't get this effect as much watching it at home, but the aspect ratio on this is a nightmare. I don't know what version you watched, but it jumps like shot to shot between IMAX and Regulo. And it's headache inducing.
Oh, no.
It's way worse in the cinema, but it's like, pick one. Pick, like, you know, when Christopher Nolan does it, he will do like, this section is in IMAX.
Yeah.
It's not between shots, just interiors in an office. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure, right. Good stuff.
Yeah. This one more than the others, even though they've done it a little bit, it feels so much like it's setting up for a sequel. Like,
my God,
and I know
yes.
like the first one had like Starscream's gone into space. What's going to happen next? Devastator, whatever. That's what happens. But it really feels like, don't even worry about it, because you thought you were going to get Unicron and you're an idiot for thinking that.
That's right.
But next movie, you won't be an idiot for buying a ticket that time, probably.
That's right. You thought Quintessa was gone for good, but she's back and she's a babe. Am I right?
You
Fellas?
are right. Yeah. Gemma Chan, she's good. I like her.
Yep.
I forgot she was in this. Hate it. It's not as weird as some of the previous ones, in particular number 4, but I hate it. I hate it.
It's bad. It's one of the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's tough to gauge these. They're all one of the worst, aren't they?
And a lot of people have asked also, are you going to come back and do Bumblebee? Not next week. It's a different continuity.
Yeah.
We will do it at some point. We'll probably pair that with like the original animated movie and maybe some Beast Wars stuff. But
And the reason is because it's good.
yeah. from some of it's good at
It's
least,
better.
isn't
It's
it?
way better than
Yeah.
this. It's what the first one should have been.
Yeah,
I feel.
definitely.
And again, look, if you really want to know our thoughts on it, we did an episode of our podcast, The Weekly Planet,
That's
about
right.
it some time ago when it came out. It's nice to know which Transformers are which in it.
It certainly is.
It's pretty cool.
And next week, though, we will be coming back because leading up to Tenet or Tenant, Tenets, 10ETs, we're going to do some Christopher Nolan classics, aren't we?
That's right, we are.
Which ones? What are we going to start with? Are we going to start with The Prestige? Yeah, probably, I get. Yeah, maybe.
Oh, God, are we? Great. Yeah, probably.
Subscribe if you do want to see that. These come out every Tuesday. And there's videos here all the time, isn't there?
Yeah.
Too many. But if you do want these early, you can actually go to bigsandwich.co, sign up, bonus podcasts, audio commentaries, early videos. What else do you want? What else do you want?
Just fistfuls of cash? We'll do it.
We'll do it.
Sign up. $9 a month. We'll give you more of that in just physical money. Deliver it to your house.
That's it. But thank you for sticking with us through these.
People loved them. People have enjoyed this trip down memory lane.
And look, we bitch and we whinge and we moan. Like a real Mark Wahlberg.
That's right.
But-
End of sentence. Oh, there's more? Okay.
But people watch these and they enjoy them and they say nice things, and we really appreciate having an audience to do this.
And you know what?
Because we'd be doing this anyway.
Yeah.
With nobody listening.
That's exactly right. And you know what? At the end of the day, they may not be the most intelligently written movies. They may not be the cleverest movies. They may not be the most fun movies. Anyway, that is the end of that sentence. That's all I have.
So thanks for your support, guys. See you next time.
Grab that jab, you guys. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye. This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates.
I mean, if you want. It's up to you.